Hi, chicken. You guys want to do some work for me? You guys ready to do some work for me? I got something for y'all to do. You guys remember not too long ago in a couple of videos, I had the tractor out and we were where we have our in-ground garden over here. You can tell there's still big piles of manure from where I've dropped it, but we've been putting our chickens to work. I've closed it off to the goats and I've opened it up to the chickens. So what I'm going to do now is give them a little bit more encouragement to do a little bit more of my work for me. You guys ready to work? Work for your dinner? Throw some over here. Throw some on that pile. Over here. Here we go. Here we go. I really like to let these guys work on one pile at a time, sometimes two. I have found that they work a little bit harder if you don't overwhelm them with a little bit on each pile, because then you get the whole flock. You get full flock power to really get on these manure piles and scratch up these grains, and they spread that manure, and while they're going through the manure and eating their own food, they're creating manure themselves. You know, and I used to watch Justin Rhodes. I used to think that man was crazy because he gets so excited about chickens just scratching in the dirt and pooping. And now that I'm a homesteader and I've embraced more of the permaculture approach to things, I can definitely see why he gets really excited about their poop on other poop that eventually, in a weird way, is going to feed us. You can tell they kind of don't know which one to go on to. So I've got a little bit here on this one where I've got this one little lone hen right here who's doing her thing, and everybody's back on that other one. I don't know if maybe that pile's better, but that's why I think it's better to let them kind of focus on a little bit of just one pile at a time. I do spread a little bit to the sides too, because as they scratch here on this main pile, they're going to scratch it off to the sides, and they'll go digging even more for the feed that they're putting all of that manure over top of. And they'll scratch for it, and they'll aerate, and they'll add their nitrates, and they'll do their whole wonderful little permaculture thing. And this is something that we do specifically in the winter. They can't really be in here after I put down the plastic for raising our food crops that we put in the ground over here. I don't really allow them into our raised garden bed during growing season. So this is their ample time to get in here, do the job that they're supposed to be doing, and help me out with a back-breaking job that I don't really want to tackle. I found that there's a love of this life because it's a partnership. And I don't think a lot of people think about that when they think of homesteading and the like. I don't think they think that we're in partnership with animals. They probably think we just eat them. We just grow them out just for their eggs, and we grow them out just so that they can be eaten at one point in time. And sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you have there are egg layers in here, and there are meat bearers in here, but really we're in partnership for a long time before it comes to that point. I'm in partnership with them from chicks all the way up until either they expire on their own or we put them in a pot. And really, if it were this way, nature wouldn't put them in a pot. Nature would just have a predator come in and take them, because they're open game right now to a hawk. So even in the wild, if we didn't have anybody out here doing anything with them, and they were just out here scratching and doing their own things, following a wild herd of goats, even though my goats are far from wild, they would be following a herd like this, and they would be going through their manure, and they would still be open to predators. So with me here and with everything around them, we work in partnership. I'm going to feed them and give them an easy meal over something I need to work with. I need them to help me move this, and they can move this more evenly and scratch up the ground more efficiently than I ever could, mostly because I have to work a full-time job just to keep this place running, where this is pretty much your full-time job. Run around, scratch up some poo, eat, make babies, lay eggs, and maybe eventually they complete the food chain. Even though most of these girls in here will probably never be put in a pot. Believe it or not, this right here used to be a pile as big as those. These are the first couple of piles that I've started them on. There's a pile here, there's a pile right there, and there's a small pile that they've kind of been working on over there. Easy girls, one at a time. There's plenty to go around. They don't have any table manners. But you can see they've done a great job. And you can tell like these light areas between these piles are where they haven't been scratched, or where this more this fresher pile of manure hasn't been scratched out. So you really can see that from that pile, this pile, this pile, that you can just kind of tell where they've been working. And they'll keep working this ground until the end of winter, right before we're getting ready to put a tarp over to kind of kill any of the weeds that are going to be popping up in here from the hay or their manures, because they are seed bearers when they drop their droppings all throughout here. But they'll be working this pretty much nonstop every day until we're ready to do some weed control to prep for our final planting for the spring season that's coming, which can't get here soon enough. I quite frankly am really sick and tired of this cold. So Marky and I were actually just getting ready to leave for dinner and noticed that our donkeys were acting really kind of off. They came running from back here in this area, and Lola has just been like locked on, and then come to find there's this big possum back here. He's not dead yet, but trust me guys, like he is not in good shape. Like he is in really rough shape. You can tell he's still alive. He's giving me quite the grin still. But you guys can see like right here, he's really been messed up. And he's got some blood back here. And then on this side, he's got kind of the same deal going on. So this guy has, I really think that the donkeys found him kind of just moseying along and decided they wanted no part of him being in here. But Mark and I have decided we're just going to leave him in here. If he's on his way out, because he does not look like he's in good shape. Like I really don't want to bother him or stress him, because possums play dead. I mean, it's really easy for us to look at him and say he's not going to make it because of the way he's acting. But he could be acting a lot worse just to make us go away, like he's no longer a threat. The other thing that it kind of gives me peace of mind, I don't like to see animals hurt or maimed, but it does give me a little bit of confidence in my donkeys. Even though we've said it so many times, they're not livestock guardians, but they're territorial. So while a possum really doesn't pose that much of an issue for our goats, outside of maybe the one-off disease and being a pest eating their food, if it were something that meant business, it tells me that the donkeys would notice and give it a what for. So I feel bad for the possum, but I'm almost like, good job girls, do what you're supposed to do, guard your territory. But it doesn't mean that livestock guardian dogs aren't still in the near future. And someone can't stand that I am giving any attention to a bunny and not a goat, not our adopted goat child. He thinks he's a dog. You think you're a dog, do ya? You're so pretty. Show me your pretty face. Show me how pretty you are. Mr. Leo Bun's a good boy. He was a good boy. To really watch where he's at when he's out, because he really loves to be underfoot. Don't ya? You like to be underfoot? I have to be really careful moving the cart because somebody wants to just chill out real close. Can you not take it either that I'm talking to the bunny and not you? Hey, leave him alone. He's trying to rest, man. Not like you want to lay there. Not like you want to lay there. Not like Bun does. He was a cute little man. Oh, did you want to lay next to your friend? Here we grow again. And if my kidding stalls weren't enough of a blessing this week, Mark has also been out here building more raised garden beds. So we kind of wanted to round it out with 12 large raised garden beds. So we bought the lumber along with the supplies to build our kidding stalls, because we figure we've got the truck out. We're kind of in the mood to spend way too much money on construction materials. So we've got 3 more 3x6 raised garden beds that will be moving out later this week. I did go ahead and put down landscape fabric earlier so that I can, and I'm like the rest of everybody that has anything to do with living outside or homesteading or farming. Boy, do I hate the winter. I don't like it because a lot of times I feel like I'm just sitting there and I'm spinning my wheels and I can't get any forward motion. And I know a lot of people out there struggle with that exact same thing. And what I'm going to tell you is, don't be fooled. Winter is the perfect time to start homesteading. I find myself out here today looking at all of my dormant raised garden beds, and I'm dreaming of when I get back out here and put some seeds in the ground and to get ready for that harvest and pull weeds and feel sweat and just feel that gratification and that reward that comes from growing one's own food for their family. And a lot of times, all of my planning for this space happens during the winter time. Winter is perfect for planning. The reason being is we don't have the weather on our side. It's usually really cold, or it's really windy, or we just seem to feel a little sad during this time of the year when the days are not as long as we hoped that they would be. The sun doesn't shine on us as often as we're used to. So I find myself a lot in the wintertime dreaming up projects, making plans for the gardens. The work never stops here. So when the weather kind of tells us it's time to rest, just like it tells the garden, it is a season for peace and for rest, to get ready for when it's crazy busy and when a lot is expected of us and we need to be growing. It's a good time to kind of just go into oneself and start laying out your plans and devising how the season ahead of you is going to be planned out. This time of year is just the best time to prep for your garden. We're prepping here for an expansion. Laid down our weed block to block out the weeds, because we like to have nice open walkways, but I also want to block the weeds from coming up underneath my new raised garden beds that are going to be here. And that doesn't seem like a whole lot of work, because really it wasn't, y'all. That wasn't a lot of work. I just got some of the materials that I needed, and this may have took me 15 minutes tops because I really got in the groove and got to going. That's how you can take advantage of your winter. Even if you're a first-time homesteader, if you can even during this time stake out where you want to have your gardens, this is easy. This is easy stuff. I went and bought this roll at Tractor Supply yesterday. It's February. Even the farm stores know this is the time of year where a lot of us are out and we're planting and we're prepping. So they've got a lot of that out. Like, they've got seed starting soil, they've got seeds, they've got the landscape fabric, they've got all of the little kits for beginners to get out there and start prepping for that busy time. So don't let this weather, don't let winter or the season of rest and hibernation hog tie you so you can't do anything. That's just a trick of the season to get you to sit still, and albeit there is definitely a time for rest. There's definitely a time for rest. I usually take my rest between December and January, and then February we are full steam because March is right around the corner. It's going to start getting warm, and we've got baby goats coming, y'all. We have baby goats coming, and I can't wait because we've been doing things in the barn too, y'all. So you guys can tell only a little bit of time has passed, and we got the boxes out here. I've started Hugo Culture in these. If you're not familiar with Hugo Culture is actually a way to really promote the health of your soil. So what we've done here in these boxes, which they're not all the way done yet, we've got lots of logs that have been cut from our property, and we've put them in the bottom, and we've put in manure, shavings, old hay, anything that's spent, because everything on a homestead, everything on a farm has second life. It lives over and over and over again. That's something that's wonderful about this lifestyle. So we're just kind of layering this up. And what that does is that over time, those logs are going to decompose and they're going to add more nutrients, more bacteria, a lot more microbial life forms in here that are going to help promote the health of the soil, which really, even though I was once in that wheelhouse of dirt is dirt, any dirt can grow whatever you want it to grow. No, it can't. No, it can't. All soil needs to be nourished and kind of molded and amended and promoted for optimal health for the seeds and the plants that you might be wanting to plant in it. So we've got our beds here. We've got Hugo Culture going on. We have some cardboard that's in here. Make sure to take off all the tape. We've had lots of different deliveries from Amazon like everybody else in the world does right now. And you can tell we're prepping for our growing season here. It won't be long, even though today is cold and I am in full, it's cold on a farm attire. These will soon be full of wonderful soils with seeds that will be started very soon indoors. We've got everything secured down. I do need to get more mulch, but the wonderful thing about that mulch too that we run between us, when we are done with the soil or the mulch on top, if you decide to, if you say you want to start completely with a fresh bed of mulch, or you need to relay more wheat fabric or anything like that, a lot of this mulch can just be scooped up and into all these beds over here. We do make sure that where we buy our wood chips from, that it's not treated lumber. It's not any type of tree that's probably been subjected to pesticides, or at least to our knowledge, that's not how it's being sold to us. This is not dyed. This is all natural mulch, so that when we put it into our raised garden beds, it's helping us to grow the biggest and healthiest plants that we possibly can. Because, you know, what we put into the soil, how we promote the soil, the health of the soil, translates into big, healthy plants that give you big, healthy fruits and vegetables, which you in turn eat for the nutritional value that started from your soil, from your base and your foundation. It's just like that with all things. It all depends on what kind of a foundation and a base you start things on. So if you are starting your journey down gardening and you're doing raised garden beds, and I know sometimes it can be expensive, and we're lucky because a lot of this organic materials come right from my barn over there. It comes from the chicken coop, or it comes from my duck coop over here. We run animals that have primarily cool compost outside of the chickens, and the chickens do their work like you saw earlier in the video, turning our soils, spreading out our manure, and really helping us to amend the soil and saving me a whole lot of stress and strain on my poor back because Lord knows we work enough on the farm. I can buy more chickens, I can buy another tractor, another tiller. It's gonna be really hard to buy another back. So that's what we've got going on here, guys. And remember, even though it's flurries right now, we're still out here, we're still planting, we're still getting everything ready in our garden, because this is the perfect time of year to start planning your homestead, to start your homestead journey. This gives you the appropriate amount of time to lay down your plans and put in an action plan and your steps, your 10 steps to self-sufficiency, if you would, and just go at it that way. But now I want to get out of the cold. So I hope you all have enjoyed the video today. If you did, let me know by dropping me a comment, leaving me a like, and subscribing. Let me know what's something you hope to accomplish on your homestead in your garden this year. Sorry, rowdy dogs. Rowdy dogs. Very rowdy dogs. So drop that down in the comments below. So with that, guys, before the dogs interrupt me anymore, I hope that you are all staying safe out there and being kind to one another. God bless you. We will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.